In the top stories, woman shot in Bird Rock. Early elections in Guyana bad for business. And ISIS-inspired attack on U.S. Capitol thwarted. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast for Thursday, January 15, 2015. I'm Jason Davis. Now the news in detail. Police are investigating a shooting this morning that has reportedly left one person hospitalized. According to sources, the incident took place in Bird Rock at about 8 a.m. And while police have confirmed the shooting, they have not released any details as yet. ZIZ News understands, however, that the victim was a woman and she was rushed to the hospital. We'll have more details as the investigation unfolds. Meanwhile, police have charged a young man of West Farm for shooting local performer Ashkenaz late December. According to a release, Jermaine Hanley, alias Dapper Youth of West Farm, was formally arrested and charged for attempted murder of Ulzavan Ashkenazi Cross, better known as Ashkenaz, which was committed on the 20th of December at West Farm. Initial investigations revealed that Cross was allegedly attacked by an unknown assailant. The victim went to a friend's house before being taken to the hospital, where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. In other news, the Honourable Marcella Labret, the parliamentary representative for the constituency of St. Christopher II, Central Basse-Terre, says she has delivered for her constituents. Minister Labret was elected to Parliament in 2010 on a platform of stronger families and safer communities.
On a platform of stronger families and safer communities, we have delivered on almost all that we promised. And again, it's a question of ratings. If we have delivered on 85%, then I'm sure we have delivered on about 85%. We have delivered. Right. And so I don't have to go through all of what we delivered. But what I would say to you is that we did this in a planned and strategic way in terms of structure. And so we basically looked at infrastructure, family, and community, especially as we're trying to build stronger families and safer communities.
She says while all of her party's projects have not been completed, they are in good standing and are poised to finish the job. The Honourable Marcella Labret is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party constituent for number 2, and she will contest the upcoming federal election against Roy Fleming of the National Integrity Party and Jonell Powell of the People's Action Movement. In regional news, the Private Sector Commission in Guyana is not happy that the country is heading into general elections a year earlier, saying it's bad for business. Royston Drakes has the details.
Chairman for the Trade and Investment Committee of the Private Sector Commission, Ramesh Duku, said the private sector hates elections. He said no business is done before and after elections. Duku was speaking during a press conference with members of the media at the Private Sector Commission headquarters in Waterloo Street. He said having elections before the 5-year period is a huge disadvantage.
So we hate elections. Having elections before the 5 years is up is a huge disincentive for the private sector.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And secondly,
I put it a bit more polite.
yes, Kit is very polite. I am very frank. We have suffered from the, whatever you may want to call it. Let me look at Kiana so I can be inspired. Obstructionist politics on all three sides that has occurred over the last year in Parliament. As a Guyanese, as a private citizen, I'm ashamed by the fact that our politicians cannot find it in their hearts to work together for you and me to have a better Guyana.
Eddie Boyer, executive member of the Private Sector Commission, said there are a number of issues that have to be taken into consideration. He said the economy is his biggest concern. While member of the Private Sector Commission, Kit Nascimento, said the current environment is not one in which business can progress comfortably.
If you look at the economy as a whole, you got to look in terms of the gold price. You got to look at commodity pricing. There's a lot of factors that create employment and generate business. You know, so there's elections, and there's also a massive downturn in terms of where we are with commodity pricing.
It creates a sort of stand and wait and see the result. So it's not an environment in which business can progress very comfortably.
Despite calls both local and internationally for the president to reconvene Parliament, the president is not bowing to any pressure. He said he will instead dissolve Parliament and call general elections. But when exactly will he do that is anyone's guess. Reporting for our Capital News, Royston Drakes.
The St. Lucia Blind Association is working to combat the effects of glaucoma, which causes blindness, by actively conducting tests and studies. We hear more in this report.
The glaucoma eye disease has been described as the silent thief of sight. The St. Lucia Blind Welfare Association has vowed not to let up in the war against the disease in the hope that eventually some form of cure will be discovered. The association, with the help of overseas counterparts, embarked on a 4-year study which revealed that the glaucoma disease is extremely serious.
There is no cure to date with regard to glaucoma, and it has been described as the silent thief of sight. You know, he comes like the thief in the night.
Glaucoma is very prevalent in St. Lucia and the rest of the region. This highlights the need for, as Mr. Avril puts it, all hands to be on deck in the fight.
We at SLBWA, we are very excited about this, and we understand also that the Dr. Riolini, of course, he comes from the Eye Institute of the University of West Virginia, and they have been able to secure a grant to continue this study, to extend it to another phase.
The second phase of the study is expected to last 5 years. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
Internationally, federal authorities thwarted an Ohio man's plot to launch an ISIS-inspired attack on the U.S. Capitol. CNN's Alexandra Field reports.
An Ohio man now in custody for allegedly plotting an ISIS-inspired attack at the U.S. Capitol. Officials say Christopher Lee Cornell was planning to detonate pipe bombs around the building and then shoot people as they fled. The 20-year-old came to the FBI's attention several months ago for alarming social media posts talking about violent jihad. In an undercover operation, the FBI says Cornell told an informant he had contacts overseas, that he had aligned himself with ISIS and believed lawmakers were his enemy. A criminal complaint says Cornell did not think he would receive authorization to conduct a terrorist attack in the United States, but wanted to wage jihad on his own, writing, "I believe we should meet up and make our own group in alliance with the Islamic State here and plan operations ourselves." He researched the targeted government buildings and the construction of pipe bombs. Wednesday, Cornell purchased 2 M15s and 600 rounds of ammunition from this gun store in Cincinnati before FBI agents arrested him in the parking lot. WKRC obtained this image of his arrest from a customer inside a nearby store. The gun store owner, who'd been cooperating with authorities, described Cornell's demeanor.
There wasn't really anything about him that would have suggested he was involved in something like this.
His parents devastated and in shock.
I'm just heartbroken. Just want to give him a big hug and bring him home. Because he ain't out to hurt nobody.
He may have lost his way somewhere in there, but I believe he was really vulnerable, and I believe he was coerced in a lot of ways.
John Cornell says that his son recently took up an interest in Islam, but had never mentioned ISIS.
He explained the peaceful side of Islam to me, you know, and he never showed any signs of any kind of violence or anything. I mean, quiet, shy, good kid.
Tens of thousands of security forces are deployed for the Pope's visit to the Philippines, while participants, including school children in Swiss Guard uniform, rehearse their parts. Deborah Lutterbrook reports.
Final preparations in the Philippines ahead of the arrival of Pope Francis. Children dressed as Vatican Swiss Guards are completing the final rehearsals at the Manila Cathedral. In a country where 80% of the population is Roman Catholic, they want to make sure everything and everyone is ready. Security is a top priority during the Pope's visit, where up to 6 million people are expected to attend an outdoor mass at Manila's Rizla Park on January 18th. Up to 40,000 police, troops, and reservists will take part in what the military is calling the country's biggest ever security operation.
There needs to be a a balance between having the Pope meet up with the flock and meeting all the members of the church and all others who have been invited to attend the public events, as well as at least keeping him away from danger.
The pontiff arrives in the Philippines Thursday for a 5-day visit that will underscore his ministry's emphasis on interreligious dialogue, poverty, and the environment.
And now the weather. Today will be partly sunny with showers expected later this evening. Temperatures will reach a high of 28 degrees and a low of 24 degrees with winds blowing from the east-southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunset will be at 5:58 p.m. And that's it for the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us at 6:30 and 7 p.m. for the major news presentation. Thank you for watching. I'm Jason Davis.